should be live any second. I believe we are live now. Gonna tweet out. All right. Retweets appreciated. And
the only time I get on Twitter.
And then Yip hit up the guild, and we will get this show on the road. God, I've subbed to this channel for so long.
$34 months, wow.
Yep.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bob.
So that means I've been podcasting for about 3.5 years.
That means you're a real simp. So that
I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of a simp for Jaw. Jaw got me started in podcasting, taught me how to edit, gave me my first shot on my first show. I will probably be a simp for him for life.
give me my shot.
Yeah, it improved my stutter exponentially. I mean, everything about podcasting has been awesome. All right. Improve confidence. The list goes on and on. Oh, shit. Dang it. Oh, my stupid green screen. Ooh, that worked, I think. I love it when I could just move the light and not have to mess with the chroma key. Oh, I should have wore a green shirt. That was the best episode ever.
You know, I'm posted. You know, I'm
Agree
getting
to
some
disagree.
backlash here. We're not live yet.
All right. This is just for me. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today we are joined by Ryan, aka Cognitive Pit. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, Bob. Thank you.
Well, I thought I introduced Ryan, not Mel.
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Had a great week in WoW. So
Me too. We're going to definitely talk about that. We had a lot of fun in a lot of different aspects of the game. It's been a great week. We're also joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Wonderful. There's a long weekend ahead, so that's exciting.
That is Labor Day. Yes. Oh my
ooh,
gosh.
Labor Day. I
That
forgot
is
about
going to
Labor
be
Day.
awesome. Gives everybody that extra time to grind out our Arena Season 1, right?
Yep, that's it.
True.
And
Is it like after Labor Day that you're not supposed to wear white, or that you can start wearing white? Anybody
It's
know?
You
after.
stop wearing it.
Yeah. Because
Because you wear white during the summer, and then it gets too cold in the fall. I don't know.
Okay, so the best was we were at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, and we were seeing Misha. I forget his last name, but he plays Castiel on
Burton.
on what?
Misha
Supernatural.
Burton.
Oh, yeah, on Supernatural. And somebody asked him, "Why can't we wear white after Labor Day?" And he just was stumped. He was like, "Well, I can't even keep Labor Day and Memorial Days like, separated, so I have no clue." But it was funny.
When can you start wearing white again?
I don't know. I just don't wear white, so I don't know.
Something to think about.
Something
Is it
to think
January?
about. I'm going to wear a white shirt on our next podcast just because I can.
That's kind of messed up.
Yep.
I still think you should wear the boobies shirt that you have. It's just
yeah.
a shirt that straight up says boobies right on the front of it. It's hilarious. I think I
bought that
tweeted
for
it out.
myself, definitely.
Yeah. If you go back in my tweets years, you will see the tweet. A little treasure hunt for people. But back to the show. We are also joined for the first time by Felber, a podcast listener who tweets at us all the time, interacts with us all the time. He's been wanting to come on to do one of the short story type of things that we were trying to start up, but I just decided to just bring him on the show. So welcome to the show, Felber.
All right, how's it going?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. Tired. Just got back from vacation, so
You should be refreshed and awake,
no, that's not how that works.
ready for action.
So you
We need
obviously
to
went
implement vacation after vacation, right? Like you
Well, it
need a
depends
vacation after you go on vacation.
It depends what kind of vacation. Because if you go to Disney World, you're tired. But if you go to a beach in the Caribbean, then you're probably going to be pretty well rested. So where did you go?
We went to Chicago because we were supposed to see a concert, but it got canceled. So we just were in Chicago for 4 days.
Chicago. I love Chicago.
Did you eat a deep dish pizza?
It was literally the first thing we did when we got there.
Did you eat a hot dog with an entire pickle on it?
That was the second meal.
All right, that's all I know.
Then-
Good job.
Then
That's
you
all
did
I
it
know.
right. That's good stuff. All right, guys. Well, we have a good show in store for you. We're gonna go over reviews. We're gonna go over what we've been doing in WoW lately, the Vargflocken raid progress. We got some changes to the way we're raiding coming in soon, which is kind of interesting if you care about that. Then we're gonna move on to news, talking about the new things that are in, a little bit of classic era PTR updates that you guys are gonna have to explain to me, and then we're gonna get on to talking to Felber about going from a casual guild to a very hardcore guild. So with that being said, I'd like to remind everybody we always stream live on twitch.tv/mashthosebuttons. Check us out live if you want to interact in chat. All right, yep, take it away.
Yeah, we had a couple of reviews. The first one on Apple Podcasts. Amazing. Hey guys, love the pod. This show gets me through my sessions of gaming daily. You guys rock. I also listen to it in my Nissan Altima on my way to work. Keep up the good job, Austin Simmons. P.S. Pandaria is best. Prove me wrong. Really quick, that Pandaria is best is to throw us off from this blatant Nissan Altima ad.
I know, I saw that.
They're trying to get us to talk about this Pandaria thing and not the fact that Nissan's been writing reviews every week for the podcast. And let me say, as a Nissan Altima driver myself, it's pretty good. 2017 Nissan Altima.
I was
rides
just about to say, like, those I've had friends with them, and those are great cars.
It's a good car. So glad you're listening to it there. Pandaria is best. Prove me wrong. Well, I guess we'll see. In 5 years-ish, 5.5 years maybe, when Pandaria Classic comes out, we'll give it another shot, and you'll hear our take on whether or not Pandaria is best. Pandaria, I liked Pandaria. I like the atmosphere of Pandaria. I liked
Pandaria was a server.
Nope, it's where the pandas came out.
Yep,
when the
it's
pandas
Kung
came
Fu
out.
Panda.
Wow. But
okay.
it looks good. The questing was good. I thought the raids were really nice. Timeless Isle was really cool. One of the better like catch up islands that existed. Whether or not it's good or bad, I don't know. I was in college. I was in a daze when I was playing Pandaria, so I'm not actually sure how it compares, but I thought it was pretty good comparatively. It's after Pandaria where things start getting. It's really just Warlords of Draenor. I've talked about this before.
Yep.
Well, I didn't
And-
play Pandaria, so I can't prove you wrong. Just the fact that they lost me before Pandaria. So
And then we have another review from weirdly coincidental, someone named Felber, who is crazy. Love the show, been listening from almost the beginning and don't plan on stopping. Seeing the game for a more casual guild's point of view has been great. Interesting perspective. Everyone else says we're hardcore. When you finally downed KT in Classic, I was almost excited as when my guild did it. Feels like a group of friends in Discord. For the Horde, Felber from the server
For the
Earth
Horde.
Fury. Wow, Felber.
This is interesting.
Strategically planted my review so it'd be on the show when it got read.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a podcast first. We have the
This is the
reviewer
bride.
on the show. Yeah.
Who
Oh,
knew?
this
All
is
you
the
had
bride.
to do was leave a review. And you can come on the show. Nissan
Oh.
Altima knows.
Oh man! All right, so what have you guys been doing in WoW lately? Who wants to go? Mel?
Not me.
Oh, see, I don't even remember what I did earlier today, but this week, let's see, I raided. Shocking, I know.
On two
I
characters.
also raided on my alt in Kara and did so good. Yip only died a few times,
A couple of
and
times.
it wasn't my fault at all.
Yip was also
And
on it all, though, to be fair. He wasn't as
I,
beefy as
I
he
was
normally
on and
is.
all.
yeah, we were druid buddies, right? Like we both were on our druids. And yeah, I just realized, going from raiding Mag and Gruul on my priest immediately to raiding Kara on my druid was very confusing. I
That was
know.
me on my druid as well too. Warrior
I
to
was like,
druid. I was like, where
I
are
was
my
trying to
buttons?
prayer of mending you and like shield you, and I was like, oh god, I don't know what I just did to him.
Yeah,
And then I tried to battle rush you, and it like wouldn't work. And I was like, I'm sure I just stood there looking like an idiot, like in the middle of the like room, like, I pushed the button. Why?
yeah, and I went from raiding ranged caster to half tank, off tank, and DPS warrior, but I was running a weird dual wield arms build that's been kind of growing in popularity, and so I was
Ooh, the
trying
kebab
to,
spec.
yeah, so I tried that, but under geared, and so it was definitely lackluster. Probably try Fury next time because I haven't done that yet, but I just do not have fun with PvE arms. It probably has a lot of fun on trash and stuff in like 25 man, but like it just is not fun and cares on for me. So
Well, I
eh.
felt most bad for Kim because he was playing a Shadow Priest, and I'm pretty sure like a third of the way through the run, he was like, "I need to go repair her,
Oh yeah,
guys."
Kim
Like
died.
he died like every
He didn't
pull.
come to Karazhan repaired. I'm sick of this narrative that Kim died enough to have his chest broken by the time we got to Curator, but that just isn't the case.
He died a good 20 times throughout the raid. But to be
No,
fair,
he
I
didn't.
I died a good 15 times throughout the raid. Like sweeping strikes, all of a sudden, bleh.
You guys are out of your mind.
Other than that, I don't think I did any arena this week yet. Did I, Bob?
Nope, you haven't yet. Nope, you. We're gonna try and get you in on twos because we've already got a whole bunch of threes done. We got Yips all done on threes. We got fives done. So
Kim died a total of 10 times, and Bob died a total of 6 times. Just
okay.
so we can put that out there.
So
Kim's
my
a Shadow Priest.
ratio was kind of
Team
right.
opens Mind Blasts on the secondary target. The Shadow Priest deserved to die.
Fair.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well,
that's all I've done.
what about you? What about you, Felber?
Well, did Gruul and Mag like normal. Our guild officially stopped doing Kara this week as a guild, so we were gonna PTR, but that got taken down. So kind of had a pretty easy week. Did all my heroics for the eye attunement the last 2 days.
Oh yeah, we did that too.
Oh, I did do
Mel,
that. I
yeah,
did
Mel did do
the
that.
last two heroics that I needed for my eye attunement, and then we killed Mag. And so I'm all ready.
Yep. And then I turned in that quest last night, and I was like, oh, I guess like I missed the cutoff to get champion of Naru because it wasn't there. I did a slash reload, quit, logged back in, wasn't there. But this morning, it was there. So I guess you still get it, but delayed or something. It was weird.
Oh, I haven't turned mine in yet.
Then I've been getting together all my resist sets for the eye and Hydros.
What do you play?
I'm playing Protection Warrior. I'm the Protection Warrior in my raid group.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm getting my stuff for Warlock for fire resist, and I'm about 30 badges out, so I still have some work to do over the next week.
Do I
What?
need anything as a healer?
I don't think so.
We're having everyone have some arcane resist for Solarian because it makes the fight a joke if everyone's wearing like 2 or 3 pieces.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should grab that. I've got like 2 pieces on
Yeah.
Bob because I like made it to work up blacksmithing, and I was just like, I'm gonna keep this just in case.
So there's the Violet Eye Trinket that you get from just the Kara attunement quest. It's like 45 resist. That one everyone has. and then there's a cloak and a neck that are both pretty cheap.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Is that all you've been doing? You haven't been working on any alts or anything like that?
My shaman is 67 and hasn't logged in like 2 weeks.
That means you have 2 weeks worth of rest, and that is
It's true.
exciting.
One day I'll do it, but I don't want to do all my attunements again. So
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of nice when alts can jump in later and just jump in without doing those. Be kind of neat towards the end of the expansion. What about you, Yip?
I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft. So I did my attunements too, because I had done none of them and I had to rush them all in a single day. Well, I guess we have more time, but got to be a couple weeks ahead of time. That was actually a lot of fun. I haven't done guild heroics with like a full guild group in a long time. I feel like, other than I guess we were doing like a hoon, just so we didn't have to do all slave pens when I didn't feel like doing that. But yes, heroics are really easy with a full geared guild group. Like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not there with alts trying to carry them or something.
It's
It
like
is
night
actually
and day.
it's
I
insane.
hugged all of mine. It was great.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh,
We didn't wipe at all in Shattered Halls, and I'm a warrior tank, so it was wonderful.
wow.
Yeah,
must have had
Shattered
a
Hall is what I
maze.
was worried about. I was like, oh, we gotta do Shattered Halls. I was like, oh, I guess like in my head, I did a majority of any of the Shattered Halls at the beginning of the expansion, and now I'm like, this is not too bad
Now I'm
anymore.
in like full phase 1 BIS, and I can tank 5 things. It's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
like
cool.
we're basically there now. So that was kind of fun, like getting on and actually having stuff to do. Phase 1 has been kind of boring, so having stuff to do was pretty nice. I rated on both my characters. I died a lot this week. You know, it happens. Our healers are too used
way
to
of the
me just
road.
living. That's what it is. Our healers are just used to me living because I look at the logs. Our healers are just used to me living. It'll be like death over 12 seconds. So just like,
No, honestly, I think it's a lot of like everybody was taking so much damage last night, and we had a lot of melee. And yeah, we weren't as
we
used
had a
to
lot of
you
melee.
dropping as quickly as you did, maybe. 12
Yeah.
seconds is really fast. Like,
Well,
how
they
do you
weren't
expect
all
me to
that
do
way.
anything?
Yeah. Well, it's like you go from like at the beginning of the expansion, you'd spam heal me just in case I took a lot of damage, and now you don't need to do that. It's like easy to fall into like, oh, surprise! Over 4 seconds, I still got hit at like 20k or something. Like it still
Right.
can happen. But it's always like right at the end of the fight. It'll be like girls at 0.5% and I lose, I just die, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, I mean, raid's been going good. Solo tanked basically. Bob said he half tanked, but
I tanked on 2 bosses.
um,
Although I
and that
did
was
kind of
surprisingly
plate
well.
tank, with my dual wield, because I did definitely take a lot of damage. Mel can attest to
You
that.
say that like that's not how tanking works to begin with, though. Calculated raid damage is how warrior tanking works. Like, oh, that thing's at 5%. I'm gonna stop hitting it, even if it goes. It'll die before it goes to the warlock. It's fine. That's like you got to make some sacrifices sometimes when you're solo tanking. But I was on my bear, so I've got no excuses. I could have just swiped everything. Bear was really weird because like I didn't solo tank on my warrior for weeks and weeks, and I had a ton of gear. But for bear, it was like this is fine. I mean, Nightbane was the only thing that gave me trouble as far as survivability goes on my bear. But everything else in like 2 weeks of raiding and doing some PvP for gear, the bear, it's not better than my warrior, but it's much better than my warrior was 2 weeks into being 70. So
Right.
been pretty happy with the bear. And then I've been PvPing a lot. Been doing a lot of arena. I've been talking about that every week. It's been a lot of fun playing like a bunch of horrible comps. I got my druid up and running in arena, and it's really good. Feral druid is just really good.
It is.
I'm in half defensive gear with like no offensive stats, like cleft hide chest still on when I go into PvP, and I can just shred people sometimes. Sometimes
So,
not. But sometimes. And this whole time of doing arena, I was like, wow, these people seem a little bit sweaty. Like they're trying pretty hard for how low our arena rating is. Like these people are like going real hard. LOS, and like I had this one time where this rogue like 1v1 me by doing all this like insane. It was like a 10-minute fight where they're like jumping behind pillars, and it's just like this whole thing. And I was like, I don't remember 1300 and stuff, and 1200 was never like this back in the day. Well, they released the arena cutoffs, and the top 35% for Challenger is like 1,300, which surprised me at how low it was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it is like a top third of players are around that pretty low rating. So it makes sense that there's like some amount of sweatiness going on there. I think a lot of people who are like 1,500 and being like, why is this so hard? It's just not analogous to what it was like in TBC at all.
Well, and you joined
Didn't you not start at 0 in TBC though?
You started at 1,500. Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. Of course, it's way different. So you could never really know exactly. But I mean, there are some people pretty high up there. I thought, like, it seems like the upper limit is pretty similar to what we were hitting in TBC. But it's just like I feel like there's less people from like 1,500 to like 2.5K. Right. Whereas like I feel like a majority of players were around that back in the day, just because like you're remaking new teams and stuff. Like if you failed on your team and went down to 1,000 points, you just start at 1,500 again with a new team and try to climb. So a majority of players could always be at that higher rating. So it's like jarring to run into a 1,200 team that's like in full PvP gear. You're like, what's going on here? This isn't right. But yeah, Bob, you're saying I joined your fives team.
Yep. Yeah, you. So we've had the fives team going for a few weeks, and it's been actually. I mean, we've been sitting around like 1,300s, like high 1,200s, 1,300s, and I mean running with scuffed groups. I mean, one time we ran with double Druid heal, Paladin heal, Warrior, and Shadow Priest or something like that. I mean, it was just super scuffed, but like we still went like 4 and 6 with that, with that comp. Like fives is, I feel like in that bracket, fives is if you get like skilled people, like 5 of them, you're gonna do pretty good because there's really so much going on, and just like people making their own split second decisions can push the game. But most of the team doesn't have gear. I mean, I'm the most geared person in there, and I've only got 1 piece of Glad pants and then like 4-piece blues and all of the epics, PvP epics. But it's been really fun. But Yip decided to join last night, and we had a blast running the most scuffed comp ever. Triple Warrior, Shadow Priest, and Ale came on as Holy Paladin, who's still in full 8 of 8 tier 3.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so much fun though. Like we won a whole bunch of games right off the bat because we're just putting so much pressure on everybody. Ale was just able to like free heal. He's just like 30k heals in like a game that's like just a little over a minute, and it was.
Listen,
it was
I'm a
good time.
really good arena healer when nobody touches me. Okay,
I think
just thought I'd throw that out there.
I think
but Ale also has Light's Justice.
Yeah, and he does have the shield from chess, and so he definitely has some pieces. But it's just hilarious that he's an 8 of 8, tier 3, and we'd still do pretty dang good. But he's also a very skilled player. On his Warrior account, he's in the running for Gladiator, and very possibly will get that. They shout out to them. They beat the number one fives team the other night, and then right after beat S-Van's team. So he was pretty excited about that. But then we got done with fives. And me and Yip and Ale didn't want to stop PvPing, so we did 3s, double Warrior, Yip's alt Druid, and then Ale's Paladin. We did really good there too, and got enough games in for Yip's alt to get his 30%. And then Yip and I did not want to quit after Ale quit. So we kept going like to the wee hours of the morning doing 2s as double Warrior. Worst comp ever. But we actually went 7 and 10.
Mel's nodding because she was probably woken up by Bob screaming at 5 in the morning, like
100%.
Mace done.
I did get a message from Bob at like 4 a.m. last night. So
yeah,
it was
Bob
right
keeps
before.
them on holy hours.
Yep. Mel does not. So Mel is in the room sleeping very close to where Bob is yelling at the computer screen. If you're playing arena with him late at night, expect at one point an angry Mel to come out and be like, Bob!
And
Good
if
dog
she's
house,
really
Bob.
angry, she'll just turn the computer off on me. She's done that
I did
before.
that once. Yeah, I did that once. I was like, listen, I have yelled at you 3 times and it happened again. I'm done.
Hey, man, suffer the consequences.
Yeah, WoW's life. But the last point, arena's been a lot of fun. I'm gonna finish. Well, not finish doing arena, but I'm gonna grind out a bunch of arena. I want that challenger ranking. But other than that, and maybe other people didn't know how this worked, but Harscar, our GM, actually told us that this had happened to him. So some clarification of how like the personal and team MMR and rating works for the points that you get. The way they phrased it, the way Blizzard phrased it, and to my understanding, it was if you're not within 150 points of your team, then you don't get points for that team, but you still get your personal MMR arena points, which I didn't understand. I thought you just didn't get points if you were on a team and you weren't within
Right.
150, but it still takes what your personal rating is and gives you points based on that. So that was interesting because I didn't know that. I've been worrying like, oh, I need to think about like if I'm within. You don't even have to think about that. As long as you're within the 30% of your games, I think you're good to go. You're gonna get points no matter what. Which I didn't understand.
Also, you do just to clarify, and I know this for sure, you do not have to play 10 games. Your team has to play 10 games, and you have to have played 30% of those to get points. So,
Yep.
say your MMR is with theirs, they play 7 games, kind of stay in like the same general area. Then you play 3 games, you do get points for just those 3
Mhm.
games. We've been taking advantage of that in fives quite a bit. Like we'll just get someone to 30%, and then they get points. And fives points is just it's just unfair. Like you get like 200 more points than like threes and twos for the same rating, and it's not fair at all because I feel like it's the easier of the arenas. Like you can make a lot more mistakes and have a lot less gear and do well there rather than in threes or twos.
Yeah, which
Yeah, I think
which
there's a
might
lot
bear out in the
less
numbers.
like sweaty teams in fives, right? At least at our level, I think.
Well, and you
There's a
don't
lot of
have to be a
point
perfect
getters.
comp. Yeah, you don't have to be a perfect comp. Whereas in twos, if you're not a perfect comp, although funny enough, like Yip and I beat Mage Rogue as double warrior last night one time, which just shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
when
know
you're
how that's
skilled,
possible.
yeah.
Frost Nova and you lose, right?
Well,
Right.
about halfway through, we decided, with this comp, if there's a healer, we should just solo one person each, and that worked out really well. Like we just locked down and soloed a target. One of us was oftentimes able to take the other target down because we're putting so much mace stun pressure and stuff. And then if it was double DPS, we'd often win because we would just train one target and they were done. But it was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing more over
It
the
was really
weekend.
bad. I feel like I want to reiterate because Bob's really hyping this up.
Oh no, it was bad. Yeah, we
It was
shouldn't have won.
horrible. It was just like it just seems like whatever comp I play, and no matter who it is with, we basically do about the same. Like we basically stay around that 1200 to 1300. I feel like it's achievable by anybody in any comp, and it's just so weird. It doesn't matter what we do. Although Kim and I went 113 the other night
Oh
Oh, that's
wow.
impressive.
on Druid, on Shadow Priest Feral Druid. But then we brought it back after that. But we had a huge string of losses. But even those losses, it was like we're playing people at 1500, so you lose 0 rating for
Right.
it. Like you don't lose anything playing these people. Maybe it's because we just play late at night. There's not enough like pool within our own MMR that it makes sense. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get the lower rated teams, you just play on Mondays. And that's when all the lower rated teams try to get points and you can just skyrocket up.
Very true. We've had tons of success Monday nights, but yeah,
We had success on Monday night with like this fives team, and then we tried to play again like the next like Tuesday before raid, and it was like, what is happening? Why is this
All the
so
sweaties
bad?
came out.
Yeah, we were like, we just keep losing. Like,
yeah.
I'll see it again on Monday. How about that? Let's build up our confidence again.
Oh, but yeah, I mean that kind of covers. I worked up engineering to 375, in light of the helm coming out. So I did that. Got my Goblin rocket launcher. I'm in the process of trying to get the pattern to do the boots. I need to get a parachute cloak. I don't know if I'm going to get the belt or not. I don't know if that's really a warrior thing. I haven't seen many warriors using it. I see a lot of rogues using it, but yeah, been enjoying that. Like, spent longer than I would like to admit trying to get gas clouds without knowing I had to do a quest to get the thing to suck the gas clouds up. I'm like, it's right here. Why can't I get it? And somebody would come down and get it, and I'd go to the next one and be
You have
like,
to do a quest? You don't have to do a quest, do you?
You have to do a quest to get the pattern to make the sucker.
yeah.
Oh, but you can have someone else make it, right?
Yes. But when I looked on the auction house, they were going for like 140 gold,
Yeah.
and the mats for them were like 20 gold. So I was like, nope, I'll go do the quest real quick. And so I finally figured that out. But yeah, then raiding like normal. Been doing heroics on a lock dude to get all the badges for the resist gear. Got my all of my attunements done on the lock dude. I am ready for phase 2 and then PvP, and then yeah, rated on both tunes. It's been a fun week, but that's about it. Do you want to tell us kind of a little bit about how Varg's moving into the next phase? Because I found out just today. I didn't even realize that we were kind of stopping doing Kara as a guild soon.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So who told you that?
Harskar told me today that this is probably the next week is probably the last week the guild runs Kara as a guild, and there'll be sign-ups for people to go if they need stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, what does that? I guess, like, what does that really mean? It's just we're probably not going to spend Tuesday, Thursday doing Kara, but like guild Karas will still exist. It's just we're not going to be DKPing Kara still, even as we move to DKP. So it's more like off night raids.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah, it's
did
like
say that you guys are going to have a meeting, but that's his assumption. So I should state that.
That is
One of-
basically what we did this week. We stopped signups, but we still had 4 groups run, I think.
yeah. Like I can't. People still need stuff in there. Like there's like Skulker's Greaves and the Prince Dagger, like the Spell Power Dagger and stuff. There's just people need stuff, and people have ults, so it's always gonna be run still. But yeah, Varklocken's like ragdolling off a cliff into phase 2, you know, just doing it how we do, trying to trying to figure out what we're doing. We have all of our like resist stuff figured out. We have the guild bank opened, which is nice. So we have like some options there. So we're pretty ready. We're shifting over to DKP. We talked about last week about how we started assigning some DKP to the current 25 mans just so that we have people who are attending. The big thing for us is really just we want to put out a like finalized raid group, I think, or like raid group of 30 maybe. Because something we've struggled with this whole time is just having people be like, you know, oh, like why am I sat this week? Like, what's going on? I think we just at this point need to put out like these are the 25. These are an additional 5 who are like fills who will get DKP for sitting on the bench, like something like that. But yeah, we're having a long officer meeting tomorrow, so maybe next week I'll have more info about exactly what we're doing. But the work is really tomorrow. But we have all the logistics of like getting the raid progress down. Our only issue is like we have kind of a weird tank situation right now that we need to figure out. But other than that, we're doing good. We have our frost tank and our nature tank, so we'll get the content down week 1 or 2 and figure out the logistics from there.
Yeah, we just I mean, I guess because everybody kind of follows, we lost our pally tank corpse, just kind of disappeared, and we hope he's doing good, but we don't really know his plans, and so that kind of threw a wrench into our plans for the 3 tanks going forward.
Yeah, you play with someone for a long time. I'm sure other guilds have experienced this, where it's like, almost 2 years of playing with somebody, and then you just kind of expect roles to be filled. But I'm sure we're not the only guild dealing with this. We're having a ton of rerolls as well too. We keep losing shamans. We're like bleeding shamans at an ungodly rate. We're at a good number now, but it's like all rerolls from other classes. So a lot of them are under geared, or we're like resituating them in their groups and getting them geared up and stuff. So we don't. I feel like we don't look as strong as we did in the middle of the phase. But I think we're going to be doing just fine going into phase 2.
Yeah, that's. That's just kind of, I hate to say it, but this is actually a time where you can say it is what it is, because that's it's just true. That's how it's worked since the beginning of WoW, and the good guilds are the ones that keep bringing people in, and so I have total faith in you and the officers to get that done.
Well, I have faith in the officers. I don't know about Yip
I'm
specifically,
I'm
but
the I'm the premier officer on the scene.
Ooh,
Okay.
well, you know.
You're the only other
Hey, I can
one
clear out the
willing.
guild bank. Say it again. I can clear out the guild bank right now.
I've got to give it to Yip. He's the only other one willing and able to run a alt 25 man, and no one else can.
Yeah.
So prove
Yeah,
me wrong.
It's an alt 25 man with 5 alts from our guild. Sign up. Sign up to the alt
Harskar
25
runs
man.
them.
He did last week,
Yes,
but not
the
this
only.
week.
Okay, did I not say that? I meant to say the only other one besides Harskar. I must
Oh,
have
I was
missed
like,
that.
wait a
The
minute.
the implication was there.
All right,
Was it?
guys, let's move into the news. So, the Burning Crusade Looking for Group Finder is out. And I've been checking it the past couple of days, and it's getting just as much use as it did in original TBC.
I love it. It's how I plugged all my heroic attunements. I just
Did
put
it?
tank. I put tank, and then I got 7 whispers. It was wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Well, that's because
Oh,
you're a twig.
tank. Okay.
You could
Well,
have put that in looking for group chat, and you would have gotten 7 whispers too.
I
yeah.
disagree.
True, but
I did a little bit of normals. I did a couple of normals on my druid, on my warrior, I don't remember now. Using the LFG tool, it's useful. People should use it. I picked people up from it. I picked up DPS from it. It's actually useful. If
Okay.
everyone was using it, you have a way better shot than just spamming. Like straight up, if everyone's using it, it's good.
You're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying I wish people would use it, but I've been constantly just checking to see how many people are in the list, at least on White Man, and it's not many. And then I go and there's 2 to 3 times as many people spamming looking for group chat, where I use the LFG bulletin board so I could tell how many different people there are, and there's usually 2 to 3 times more people using that than using looking for group tools. So I don't know, a lot of people probably don't even realize that it's in yet too. Like, I kind of wish when you logged into WoW it would come up with a thing that says, hey, this new tool, check it out by hitting I or something like that, because I bet there's a ton of people that don't even know it's there. Because if it is there, I think it would be if people used it, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, it's super easy. Like they're functionally, it is a million times better than using the Bolton add-on and spamming LFG. You just list yourself there, and if you want to do the dungeon, people will know, and then they'll invite you to their dungeon group. Or you can look for
Listen,
people to whisper you in your dungeon group. Like it's just so easy
change is
and
hard for
simple.
people though. Like, right?
Yeah.
People are used to using the bulletin, so that's what they're still using. And until the bulletin dies, that's what they're going to use,
What they should do is, I hate to say this,
Ban the bulletin.
if they want people to use
It's the only
the
way.
internal
Like,
LFG, they gotta ban the bulletin add.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the real way to tackle it. I'm not saying they should do it. I'm just saying that that's how you would to get people to use it. I think it's super easy. You can write a little note about yourself, so you can say, "Hey, I'm super geared rogue. I'm not like these other rogues who are looking for dungeons."
I'm gonna put on there like long walks on the beach and see if I get any hits.
Yeah, but listen, you don't have to exclusively use it. I'm not going to suggest you exclusively use it, but everyone listening, if you're going to look for a group, start using it. We just have to hit critical mass, get people to start using it, and then more and more people will jump on board and use it. That's what we got to do, because I think it's super useful to pick people up. It's less awkward because you spam LFG, and it's like the 18th hunter wants to come to heroic Steam Vaults with you, and you're like, I'm sorry, there's already a hunter who needs beast. Like all these little awkward interactions that I don't want to have. Like, we already have 80 rogues who whispered me to join. I can't take you. I can
Dude.
just look at their classes on the LFG and invite them personally.
Dude, you're actually very right, because when I set up groups and I use like the looking for group chat, I always have to tell like 7 people after I've filled. I have to I'm like, we need 1 DPS, because oftentimes we only have to pug like 1, and
Yeah.
I'll get 7 tells afterwards. And I'm a nice guy, so I always feel like I have to write back to him and say sorry, full, frowny face, when probably I could just ignore him, but I just feel bad ignoring him, even though like people do it to me all the time when I'm trying to get the one spot. But it's just like, it is awkward interactions that I just would rather not deal with.
I think
Or
it's
have you
funny
ever?
when people whisper me on my druid and they're like, "Hey, can you come tank this?" And I'm like, "You definitely don't want that because I have full resto gear and 0 tanking gear."
Yeah, like
But
they don't even know it's spec.
right, I'm
And they're
like,
asking for it. I mean, a shortage of tanks is always going to exist. Unfortunately, there won't be enough signed up for it either way. But yeah, I mean, it's just nicer. And I hate, it's slave pens. I want to find a shaman so we're not feared everywhere. Like, oh, looking for healer. And then like a priest and a druid whisper you, and you're like sitting there, and you're like, okay, I'll take the priest. That's fine. And then a shaman healer, they're like, oh, decked out in my full 20 phase 1 gear, and I'm a shaman. And they just whisper, and you just invited the other person. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, so do we kick him,
But
or
if you're on the
do
list,
we get him? Like,
you guys remember that time that we summoned a hunter to Kara and he couldn't get in because he wasn't Kara attuned?
was Yip there for that?
I was not there for
No,
that, but I heard
Oh
the
my
story.
God.
that wasn't in a guild run. That was in one of
Sultan's pug runs,
yeah,
or off guild
one of
runs.
Sultan's pug groups, and we sat there and waited forever, and then felt so bad for the guy because he had no idea what was going on. He's like, I can't zone in. We're like,
We're like, oh God.
because like someone jumped on and actually ported him there, and he's like, I can't get in. And we're just like, okay, dude, well, sorry, man. Awkward.
And that's the looking for group tool.
Yep, that is the looking for group tool. So in other news, so I don't know for sure. I think I looked at the blue post when I was like doing research before, and it was there. But basically, when like everyone thought that when the patch hit on August 31st, that we were going to have the new goggles.
Why
And
did people think this though?
I think the blue post said it.
From that day, but the original blue post specifically outlined that only the LFG tool and the guild bank would be coming out on
So
31st.
It could have been like Wowhead screwing it up, but basically a lot of people thought the goggles were coming, and a lot of people thought Druid Swift Flight Form was coming. It is not coming until September 15th, but I will say I understand the goggles not coming, because that would be weird to have those in the last week of Arena, because the effective stealth level changes. Like, that's a whole meta game that changes quite a bit. But why not put the Swift Flight Form in so Druids can
Because
just get
the
that
patch
knocked out?
comes out September 15th. I don't get why anyone would be confused about this. The patch is September 15th.
Well, because the guild bank
It's
came
not.
out
It's
and all
not.
that stuff.
Yes, Yes, they released this stuff early because on September 15th, they don't want to deal with, while their raid bosses are broken, they don't want to deal with like people being like, the LFG tool's broken, the guild bank doesn't work. But the patch comes out September 15th. The fact that anyone thought any content was coming out earlier than that, they're just there. That's like some hopium I've never heard of before from WoW. They're gonna release content earlier. Like, come on.
But
I was definitely logged out at the engineering trailer, ready to make my goggles.
same.
Bob tried to get me on to do my Swift Flight Form quest on my druid, and I didn't end up logging on. And now I'm glad I didn't.
This is crazy. This was not like an issue of contention last podcast, right? Like, none. We were never like, "Hey, Swift Flight Form's coming out next week."
I don't remember if we were or not. I know throughout the week though, we definitely thought that it was.
I only thought that because that's what Bob told me.
That blows my mind. This is like some kind of new age where we talk a lot about how WoW's really easy because information is so accessible to people, but also misinformation seems to be just like
God,
one
yeah.
person
100%.
can be like, or Wowhead can be like, oh, this is a thing, and then everyone is like,
no, yep, it is true. I saw it on Facebook. It is totally true. I saw it on Facebook.
I don't know. I understood that the patch is not coming out for 2 weeks from now.
I don't understand how you could, because like we're getting like the patch is literally giving coming to us piecemeal 4 different days. 31st, 7th, 14th, and 15th.
You're so wrong about that. Come on, use your head, Bob. That isn't true. They're releasing LFG Tool and Guild Bank early. Everything else comes the same week.
No,
you can't say
changes.
The off season starting next week means that's the patch. Get out of here.
But it changes prices of gear. It changes prices of gear. There's significant game changes that happen.
SOC comes out the 15th. I just assumed that Swift Flight Form would be in the 31st.
We will have to agree to disagree because this is a piecemeal patch. This isn't cut and dry.
They released 2 things early to make sure they weren't broken.
Nope. Don't agree. Disagree.
What else comes out before the week of the 14th?
Cheaper arena gear, cheaper
it's like arena
BG
season
gear?
ends, arena season starts.
Phase 1 off season, you mean, is what we would call it.
Yeah.
Phase 1, season 1 off season,
but
which would mean the patch didn't come out.
The
game's
game's still changing. I mean, I guess
you
could call it hot fix.
2.
I guess you could call them hot fixes, maybe.
Are we in phase 2,
Why does arena season 2 start the 14th?
Because that's the Tuesday.
We're in the pre-phase 2.
Phase 2 starts the 14th, and that's all I gotta say.
When will then
basically
be now?
In pre-patch right now.
Soon.
Okay? Can we just accept that we're in pre-patch right now?
Exactly. Mel's got it right. We're in pre-patch.
That's what I said.
All of the content.
I said pre-phase 2.
No, you said that the patch is coming out piecemeal and that we're now in the patch.
I literally just 20 seconds ago said you can go back to the recording. The audience
20 seconds ago after I changed your mind. All right, let's move it forward.
All right, so the next things, we'll have them in the notes if you guys want to read them, but it is Wowhead going over how the goggles and Swift Flight Form are not in on the 31st and coming later on the 14th. So
I'm so excited for my goggles.
I
know
am
I've
too,
been
man.
ragging on all the people wanting their goggles, but that's going to be good. I've wanted that transmog this whole time, too. Like, putting on the goggles to go suck clouds, I'm like, I look so much cooler this way. This sucks.
100% agree.
Yeah,
I'm a troll. No helmet fits me. My tusks stick out, or my nose. So
I can only imagine the poor horde. I'm a human, so everything looks good on me.
The troll nose sticks out through every plate helmet.
That is so funny. I never knew
the little tip of it. It's so bad.
Oh, that is a bummer.
Like a snowman with a little nose stuck onto your...
Lionheart helm just didn't have a front of the helmet. It was just open for some reason.
Yep.
It was the worst.
That's hilarious.
I'm looking forward to Swift Flight Form. It will help in my urban adventures, make me faster than the other person. Did I tell you guys in my urban adventures, I like to urban between battleground queues in that little place right outside chat didn't tell you that. Nobody
did.
go there, please.
No one go.
But it's gotten more populated now. But I was out there herbing, and I only have like 5 minutes, right? Because our queues aren't that long. But I'm out there herbing, and Mana Thistle shows up, and so I fly down. I start getting it. This horde flies down, gets me off of it, starts getting it. I like do something to him, and then as we're fighting, this other alliance comes down. I'm like, oh hell no! And this horde gets to this other alliance somehow. He like has this other alliance CC'd. I cyclone him and herb really fast. Somehow I got it off before he became uncycloned, and I just pieced out in travel form. And they were so mad at me. And then my Q popped, and I was like, yeah, bye.
That is the best. I've actually done
The
that.
best feeling.
I've actually done that mining where like I'm in queue and I like take like a horde's mine, and then we're fighting, and then if I'm like not gonna win, I'm just like take Q, disappear.
Am I crazy? That's about to become way less good for you because in 2 weeks when the patch drops,
Are you sure
in
it's not
2
tomorrow?
weeks, pretty sure. Isn't that area like the pre-quest to the Shatari Skyguard dailies? Don't you have to go up there and kill some stuff and
It
then
might
you
be.
start going to the Shatari
Yeah,
No,
Skyguard?
no,
'cause I
no,
did that,
no.
but
It's
it's
the
not
pre-quest.
the same area.
It's the pre-quest to the because we've already completed it. We're like ready to get our Ogre Law dailies.
Oh, it's the Ogre
It's
Law.
definitely in the pre-quest
Yeah.
stuff for Ogre Law.
Yeah,
Well, either way, it might become slightly more crowded.
yeah,
Man,
that's fine. With my swift flight form enabled, I will win. Because I can herb
What?
in swift flight form.
Oh, the Raven mount's coming. The Raven Lord mount's coming.
What's that?
That's the mount that you can get from the boss you have to kill at the end of your Swift Flight Form quest.
It's the best ground mount possible in the
Who
Burning
needs a
Crusade.
ground mount?
It's like a big bird.
Well, as a
A bird that's a ground
PvPer,
mount?
it's a bird that's a ground
Yeah,
mount.
it is.
That's just stupid,
It's
guys.
definitely-
Come on. Can we talk about that's just stupid?
Everyone knows ravens can't fly, so it only makes sense, Mel.
Yeah, I mean,
Ravens can't
No,
fly?
ravens can fly. That's
I was like, no.
the Blood Elves have freaking chocobos.
Well, yeah, ostriches can't fly though. That's for
yeah,
sure.
that makes sense.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, I've got all of my stuff in my bags, ready to make the 2 sets of goggles, one for tanking, one for DPSing and PvP, and then I also need to get the nethers for those though. So I still don't have those, but I will before that day. So I'm excited. Oh, on to the next piece. We have same faction Battlegrounds re-enabled. The Alliance Happy Meals are back.
That's
And-
not anywhere in the blue post, though.
Because they don't
Oh.
care.
Yeah, you're right.
I care. I like the Happy
They're
Meals.
trying to just like, don't bitch at this horde. We're just slipping this under the radar.
Yeah, they know how sensitive the horde are. If they find out we're making 0.5 gold per battleground, they're gonna cry about
Listen,
it.
it's like the lottery effect, though, right? Like most of the time, you get Magcar grain bread, but occasionally you get 3 Mana
No,
Thistle,
only
and it's
you have
like,
gotten that. I've never gotten Mana Thistle. Delbert, what is your opinion on this? I assume it'll vary from ours.
I don't think I've done a Battleground since TBC released, so I don't care.
The true face of the horde. Look at it.
You should
I
be on the
also have
Lions,
not
apparently.
done Arena at all. I suck at PvP a lot, so it's still.
Oh, I
You
do
play
too.
a warrior. I promise it's not that bad. Just Mortal
the
Strike
Inda-
and hamstring.
Inda Classic, I was running around with Ashbringer just killing people, but
Oh, that was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to top it off, no more queuing with over 5 people. So once again, Alliance will be taking advantage of semi-pre-mays this weekend, and Horde will not.
Yeah, which is so the important thing is that these are separate fixes. So they will permanently be keeping in same faction battleground.
Right.
They are not saying they are doing that with the maximum of 5 players. The horde issue is like separate from the pre-made issue, and they're treating it as such, which is good.
Mhm.
They
Yet they're implementing the interventions at the same time. which that
Yeah,
to
they
me
keep
doesn't
them
make
tied
sense,
together. Yeah, we've
right?
talked a
Like,
lot about how
yeah,
they're adding so many different weird things that it's like
you can't
impossible for them to
understand which
measure.
variable's making the difference, right? But yeah,
Exactly. Like you're
sorry.
getting so much feedback on it. Like they wanted feedback on these changes, but they implemented all of them at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
The big problem here that I have, and I don't know if other Alliance people have felt this way, but they enable this. They fatigued us out. I just can't complain about it anymore. I don't care anymore. They win. They turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. I just can't talk about it anymore. Okay. Like we all
It's
knew it was
fine. Keep it
inevitable.
on.
They're just gonna
Whatever.
sneak. They're just gonna put it in. It just is what it is. I know Bob hates it, but like, you know, we made our peace. We said everything we had to say.
It doesn't matter anymore. It's in there. Like, we accept it. It's fine. Like, move on with our
Yeah. I mean,
lives.
they fatigued
At
us
least I
out.
get my Happy Meals.
It's like
Don't
a
take those away.
I don't know. I feel like it's a strike. Like there's
I do have
they
one
wore us
thing.
out. I need to buy food for next week, so I'm gonna be PvP.
I have that's something I do have to pitch a bitch about, though. They give us level 75 water in the little packs. Why do they give us Maghar bread? Why don't they give us 75 or 65?
Yeah, if
Why
they
don't
gave real
us,
food,
it would be
I'd be a
really
little more into
nice.
it.
Yeah, if they actually gave us real food. But they give me that bread, and half the time I just throw it away. I don't even bother to go to the vendor to sell it.
Yeah, but same faction Battlegrounds forever, which will not end in TBC. It means if you're someone who likes Wrath, then you don't need to be worried about which Battlegrounds you're able to do, because same faction Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
You don't really need to worry.
I do think a lot of the actual hardcore PvPers will be coming back to Alliance for Wrath because of every man for himself. So
It's really trippy. It happened to us a couple times because like queues are not that different anymore. Our queues are like 5 minutes prior to this, and Horde queues are like 15 to 20 minutes from my experience talking to Horde. And so that queue difference is not that long. Plus, we have experienced same faction Battlegrounds now, and it's jarring.
Wait,
Like
we
I
have?
remember, I mean I have. I
You
think we were
have.
there. You'll
Were
go
we?
in and be like, something doesn't feel right about this. Like it's like a gut feeling. You're like, something is really wrong here. And then I'm like, I'm fighting a lot. It's like you don't even notice that at first because you just because all the Horde are like always permanently like Noggenfogger humans or not Noggin deviant humans and stuff, and like they always look like their Alliance anyway because of course they can't stand their ghastly forms.
That's
I
true.
may have a few hundred deviant delights in my bank, but that's not
Exactly.
Right.
that drives me nuts. I'm like, do you not like to look at your character? Everybody
No, if you're a Horde, why would you like
Yeah,
to look
but,
at your character?
dude,
Come
like,
on.
okay, so even humans do it on the Alliance side. Like people in vanilla would try to give me the fish, and I'd be like, I don't want that. I want to see my cool gear that I have. Like, why are you giving me that?
Yeah, but it's jarring being Alliance versus Alliance, but
That is weird.
it's fun. It's nice to smash the Alliance every now and then. I get it.
It's
I'm
nice
starting
to
to
kill
get it.
gnomes, right? And you like killing the gnomes. That's what
I'm
it is.
starting to get it.
Killing gnomes, as being a former Horde player through original TBC and Wrath, killing gnomes is really satisfying. But I can't cast that yet. Well, you're dead.
That's why.
But yeah, fatigue. We're fatigued. Got nothing else to say about same faction Battlegrounds.
Yeah. I'm just happy to be doing BGs, and honestly, I'm going to be honest, like I win I don't know, the majority. Yeah, I mean, definitely over 50%. I probably win 70% of the BGs that I do. I usually do it in a group of 4 or more, but it just seems the Horde aren't as freaking crazy as they were before. So that's the only thing that I like about it. Like, they're not going to, like, keep a War Song Gulch going for 2 hours just to farm the graveyard. So,
Side note,
it's
not in the patch notes that we have here, but something that is, I mean, we kind of made a little bit of a big deal out of it. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption, so actually slash spitting on the ground is working for me. I'm gonna be honest. You kill a Horde and you just spit on the ground, I'm okay with it. It's okay. I'm like, yeehaw, mother. I don't know.
I'll be your Huckleberry. right?
Exactly.
All right, so this next one, you guys might have to help me with because I don't know what it's trying to say, but it says World of Warcraft Classic Era PTR updated to patch 1.14. Does that just mean like it's their new patch that's like not 1.13?
I believe it was all of Phase 2 content with Dire Maul was added to, and it's not, you don't have AQ or Nax or anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
But
the
how is
PTR
that
didn't have
classic
everything
era?
on it.
It's not. It's a classic fresh PTR.
Yeah, this is there are so many. We talked about this last week how they just threw out classic era. They're already using classic era for what they mean to be classic fresh server. Like this
Right.
branding is so off.
It
Like it's
is.
just really bad. It reminds me, I'm about to go on to like this really long tangent, but Nvidia once had a product. They had, I believe, a tablet and like a remote control or something, both called Nvidia Shield.
Shield, yeah.
Just both two separate products, both called Nvidia Shield. And it's just like what a branding nightmare. And that's how I feel like with this. Like they call everything Burning Crusade Classic. I call Vanilla WoW Classic by accident all the time, like the 2005. Like I'll be like the classic. Oh, I mean Vanilla.
Right.
Vanilla
Same.
Classic. Burning BCC, like I'm just like, oh, what is anything? What is anyone talking about anymore? We're going over those changes that people want to see for classic era, and I'm like, are these classic fresh or classic era? Because they mean to me very different things. Like,
Oh yeah.
is this a classic plus experience or is this a
Classic
classic
era is
fresh
like a
experience?
museum. Let's be real.
Yeah,
They
You
should
would
have called it
experiment-
Classic Museum.
I
Yeah.
know someone that's still actively raiding Nax on those servers. It's real weird.
What
No, you
server?
Really?
One of our healer leads stopped playing TBC and just kept doing that. There's like 50
Why?
people
Man.
on the classic Earth Fury server that just raid. Like they had to go through Molten Core and BWL again to get people gear, but they did Nax last week.
Honestly, okay, hold on. If
Wow,
I had
okay.
if I had to gear up some people, it seems like maybe a little more fun. I don't know. I could see myself if I don't want to play a lot of WoW, but I want to like get better every week. Like maybe like speed clearing Nax once a week could be like a thing to do. But if I want to play a game as like this is an MMO I'm putting my time into, I don't know how I would do it with classic era
Too
when we
soon.
already did it.
Too
And
soon.
like, well, not just too soon. It's like we're continuing what we already did. It's like
Right.
I was over what we already did. I needed a break by the time we were done.
Agreed.
So that surprises me. We got to hear from some of these classic era players. If you're a classic era player,
Yeah, please tell
reach
me
out.
what is your lore there? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
because
I'm
classic
not
fresh.
I mean,
judging.
I
Like,
guess-
hey, I get it. Like, there
I'm
are people
judging.
that really want to do that. And no, I'm not judging. I don't agree.
You know what
That
would
is not
be
my point of view.
what would be kind of cool though is I've got BIS tanking gear. It'd be kind of neat to tank Nax one time in Classic Era because I never did it. Like I tanked 4 horse. That would be kind of neat, I guess. But would I
Think
go through all
there's
that work?
people
I don't
there?
know.
I could never go back. Tanking Fury Prot was so easy to do
It's very
in
true.
vanilla.
You
That-
you have DPS'd everyone. It was great.
It was just it was just so incredible back then. Like I do less DPS now than I did in vanilla on my warrior. Just ain't
Oh.
right.
Okay, so my question about this though is that the WoW Classic Era public test realm, which is now available for testing, does not include any new testable content, but it's important for us to establish this version.
This is
Like-
a nothing. This is
See,
nothing.
that's
They're
why I
just
was
saying
so confused.
Have you not already had this version?
no. The reason
multiple
the
times
reason this
now?
is happening. So they released a PTR like 2 weeks ago that we talked about, and everyone went into a frenzy like, Classic Fresh, like Classic Fresh is coming out, like and they're just announcing now, hey, we're updating the PTR, you maniacs, but there's nothing on here. Like we understand we're updating the PTR. There's nothing for you here. That's what I think that this blue post is trying to say. Like, you guys are gonna dive deep into this PTR, like conspiracy, like, is the Ashbringer in this PTR? Don't do
They're like,
There's
hey,
no-
YouTubers, stop making freaking videos about what's here and what's not.
That's my impression
But
from.
it's almost like they're asking people to log in to submit bug reports and stuff. And I'm like, listen, you've done this already. Literally not 10 years ago, like 2 years ago, you started this. Like, how is this any different?
Yeah, it's like not content related. It's like we're doing stuff with this version of the game. Like we're adapting it to so that we can do the other things to it. So I'm not. Yeah, it's weird that it says like it does not include any new testable content, and then it says thanks for anyone who logs in to submit bug reports. Like it is a little unclear
Right.
in like what they want us to do with this. But in my mind, they just put this on here because like, they
Like,
snuck
chill
out the
out,
last
guys.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. But I think that'll do it for the news. Let's move into discussion. So this week for discussion, we are having Felber on to tell his story about rags to riches, casual to hardcore, cool to crazy. Let's hear the story. Do you want to just start out with? Well, actually, no. First off, I'm getting ahead of myself. We got to get to know Felber just a little bit, just like we do with every guest. So why don't you give us your background on original World of Warcraft before Classic was even a thing?
So I played at the end of original vanilla, like last phase, and then some TBC, but I was like 14 and a teenager. I have two memories. I remember wiping on Gruul for like 4 hours and being very upset about it, and then getting King's Defender. That's the only thing I remember.
I don't even think Yip has King's Defender
Shut up!
yet.
I have King's Defender, and it dropped back to back. So now I've seen 2 King's Defender. Okay.
I got my King's Defender 2 weeks ago, and I've run Kara every week since week 1. So
That's exactly when I got my King's Defender. I don't use it though. But
My
go on.
lock still has no main hand from either Gruul or Kara. I finally saw a drop last night on Blazing Bob, my warrior. I haven't missed a raid at all either, by the way. But sorry, you were saying you just tilted me a little bit with the talk about weapons.
yeah, I had tried to play WoW a couple other times throughout the years. Logged in, go, I don't know how to play this game. There's too many things now. I just never came back. And when Classic got announced, I was pretty hyped about it. And I started the day BWL came out. I remember like looking at the launcher and it being BWL.
Oh, so you started Classic late. Okay.
Yeah, I skipped phase 2. So that was great for me.
Lucky.
Oh,
Although
but you're a horde. You
most
probably would have
so-
enjoyed phase 2.
most
So Earth
servers.
Fury for like 90% of Earth Fury's life has been about 50-50, 60-40. It's been pretty even.
Okay, yeah, but
It's trending Horde now.
usually Horde, for the majority of the servers, PvP
Aggressive.
servers, Horde was the dominant. There were definite outliers, but Horde usually had it fairly easy throughout phase 2.
Yeah, for the longest time, Earth Fury was a super dad server. Like Dire Mauls, you had to use Invis potions, and Slipkick was never trapped. No one speed run. It was not a hardcore server. And then they opened up free transfers, and it kind of exploded.
I'm sorry, I feel like every server is a dad server. Like WoW Classic's a dad game. I mean, that's how I feel at least.
Once the transfers happened, like you noticed, like AH prices like tripled or doubled, and stuff got flooded. It was a lot different. And then when AQ came out, like we opened it we opened it as fast as you could with getting as many scare amounts. Like we had a whole coalition for that.
Okay, so all right, so what made you decide to come back to Classic? Because you came late, but you said you were excited about it. Did you just hear about it late?
So I had heard about it, didn't have a computer at the time, and then finally bought one. And was like, oh, Classic's a thing I can
Gotcha.
play now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like you could run Classic on an iPad, but
Yeah, I had gotten a laptop and it runs it fine, so it's fine.
nice. All right, so why don't you give us your story about starting casual and then going to a hardcore, then you can give us some background about, how like that process went.
So I got invited to a guild while I was leveling in the Barons, like everyone does. Like leveled all the way to 60 with them. Nice guys, super nice. Found out Ragnaros has a phase 2 with them because no guide I read knew that because they were just doing some merges.
I still never saw it in Classic. Saw it every week in Vanilla as one of the top guilds, but never saw it in Classic.
Yeah. Not exciting. Did not know it was a thing. Found out they were more casual when the main tank was Deep Prot wearing Kelsarar and like full mitigation. I was reading guides like a Fury Prot's a thing. He said Fury Prot was straight up bad for the guild and the game, so
we did have a tank early on in Vargflocka that like basically refused to go Fury Prot, saying that it wasn't
We were all
in
like
the
that
line
in
of the
phase
game.
1.
Yeah, I think a
In
lot of
phase
people were a
1,
little
we all kind of were
confused.
like,
Yeah.
well, it was like, we understand that this is good, but it's not for every guild. That's what we thought at first. And I would say that in phase 1, that probably was the case. Fury Prot was not as pull-offable in phase 1 for every guild as it was towards the end, where it was like, you really can survive Fury Prot against any of these bosses.
Yeah, but didn't you say you started after phase 2?
yeah, BWL just came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah. I just meant in general.
So like we did Molten Core with them for a while, and then we started to try to do BWL progression, and we wiped on Razor Gore for 4 hours.
Oh.
So I started looking at other options because I'm not a casual person. When people are clearing things, I was like, this isn't going to work probably.
Razor Gore, that's the one where you have to go through.
It's the very first boss in BWL. The one with like the eggs you break.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of. I always get the names messed up. I was thinking of the one after going through the gauntlet of the
Broodlord Lashlayer.
Yeah. I was thinking of that. I was like, wiping on that has to suck.
Yeah, it was not great. So, and me and my IRL friend that was playing with us decided to join a different guild, which was a little bit better. 1 second, my dog's going crazy.
Oh no, we have dogs on the show all the time. It's no big deal.
Little cameo.
And eventually, like that's when ZG ends up coming out. I start running a ZG pug because I can't make my guilds run. And I meet some people from the harder core guilds on our server.
What's your dog's name? Sorry, what's his...
It's Grim.
Grim is wanting to be a star right now. He's like, I'm on the podcast.
Apparently. I'm in like our guest room with the door closed, and
He's not happy about it?
Apparently not.
I mean, if you want to take a second to let him in, you can.
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
All right, sweet. We are dog lovers on the show here.
Must show dog.
He's like, let me in. Open sesame.
All right, he's on the bed now. It looks like he's fine.
He's supposed to be close to you. All right, so continue.
The middle guild I was in ends up breaking up when AQ comes out because we couldn't clear Twin Imps, and I get invited to Lowercase, which is the guild I'm in now, who has a Scarab Lord. Like they have people that are rank 14. They're very good people. The first day I get in the guild, one of the world bosses spawns like 3 a.m. and I get summoned out there. I'm like, I don't know what this is. What's going on? That was exciting.
Was it Azergos?
It was Kazakh, I believe. Yeah, it was Kazakh.
I don't think I ever did a world boss.
You did an original vanilla, the guild that
Right.
we did them a ton, like because we were in one of the top guilds that had everybody watching, had people on standby, like getting DKP, like you were happy just to be on standby type of guild. Yeah, we definitely did them then. Although who knows, like we did them at different times, so you might have missed one or not gone to one or might have been half asleep for one. It was college, so.
At one point, we had like 3 layers on Earth Fury, and all of the Nightmare Dragons on all the layers spawned.
Oh, wow.
So there was like 12 dragons just had to go run around trying to get. But end up doing all of AQ with them basically, and find out that I really enjoy people coming prepared for raids with consumes and all that, and the time going down and down. Like I'm raiding less in a hardcore guild than I was in my casual guild, which I enjoy.
Yeah. I think
Definitely.
that was the fun part about ours, right? Like we got to a point where I think we started out like fairly casual, and then it kind of got to a point where it was like, okay, well, you're never bringing consumes, and we've got other people that want to come. Like, maybe you're not the best for us. And we turned into this like sweaty casual where we're like, pretty good, but we're not like crazy hardcore.
We
Yeah, like
basically shamed everybody into getting world buffs and things of that nature.
technically world buffs weren't required for any raids after, like they were for Nax, but like any other raids they weren't, but everyone still brought them to everything because it's more fun. And,
Yeah. I
going
never got world buffs until Nax, but I was a healer. Like,
Yeah, that's more common for healer, I feel like.
So I played the same warrior in Classic as I do now, and I loved world buffs. Like I like the meta for them. I'd get them every day, like every time for every raid. It was wonderful. Bring them back the same way. I loved it.
that's weird.
Uh,
Did you ever get dispelled with full world
so
buffs?
we had a guy named Tiny Violin on our server who had he had I think 12 accounts, all with priests, all set up in major cities and at every Songflower everywhere. He would stream himself
That's hilarious.
multi-boxing, res dispelling people.
That's hilarious.
And you're saying bring it back in that form.
Oh, he was fun. He never dispelled. Like he was streaming himself doing it, so you could just avoid him pretty easily. But it was
True.
fun. The chrono boons were great, obviously.
Mhm.
Then Nax came out, and we had 2 raid teams going into Nax. And 2 weeks before, like 10 people decided just to quit WoW, which included like all the tanks from one of the groups. So we just converged into one raid group. I believe we killed KT on week 3. Like we got to 4 Horsemen week 1, killed it, and got stuck on Saf week 2 or something.
And week 1 was the short week, right?
Yeah, that was the only week we added we added multiple extra days because we were just like, let's do it all. It's fine. The only progression that I missed was when we tried to progress on Lotheb, which was depressing. I had never wiped on Lotheb because it came in after we had already like the healers figured it out. It was great. Our healers are insane. They are the best healers. Just insanity. We regularly go in with less healers than you're supposed to on most fights.
Well, you're lucky because our healers suck.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a meme in our guild. I don't actually mean it. For anybody listening for the first time.
Sure.
We don't mean it right now, Mel. But at any time that can change.
I was in the healer channels normally because I had my alt was a priest that healed for other raid group at one point. So I just had all the healer stuff and was like, guys, just be nice to me. I'll give you mana potions. Heal me, please.
Yeah, listen, bribing your healers is a real thing and it does work. Okay? I'm just saying. Those people that yell at us and tell us that, why didn't you heal me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're the last on my list when I see your raid frame go down.
The worst is when that's a tank.
We are spiteful.
The worst is when people don't think I'm sincere. It happened in Classic more because some people legitimately complain about healers, but like I'd go down to 1 health and get healed back up, and I'd be like, "Our healers rule," and then someone would be like, "Do you mean that? Are you just saying that?"
Yeah, there was legit at one time like a few people that were like, our healers just freaking suck. And I'm like, listen, if you stand in the whirlwind as a melee, you're gonna die. I don't care. Like,
I have full faith in our healers. Basically, I'll just stand in everything at this point, and it's great. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
I let them die.
They've carried us through a lot of encounters we should not have won of a lot of times. So gotta keep
I
telling
need to
them
go
they're
to your
great.
guild. Your guild sounds amazing, healer focused guild. Come on, Yip.
Heal me better. I don't know. What do you want from me? This dude's standing at anything he wants and is living. I'm tanking Gruul and dying.
Well, I mean,
I'm joking. Our healers are great. I don't put up demo shout or hit shield block anymore. You know.
oh,
But now, like we're going into TBC, our goal was to clear all the content week 1, and we did that. We cleared Gruul and Mag, and then I think we had 3 Karas clear on week 1, besides Nightbane, because we couldn't kill Nightbane.
did you guys have, which one was more of a struggle? Like, did you guys struggle on Mag or Gruul?
Mag, I think, took like 35 attempts.
Whoa.
Because some people had just hit 70 and like weren't super geared.
Oh, you were doing Mag like that first like half
we did
week.
It Saturday. That first Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys, okay, we didn't even attempt it that first week.
Yeah, we went the week after.
Yeah, we got like.
Well, we did it. What do you mean? We attempt. Did we not?
No, not week
it?
1.
Not week
right.
one.
We did that We did it that Thursday though. We did it like a couple days after.
Yeah, and then we dropped it the week after.
The week after.
Yep.
Yeah.
High King, I think, took 2 or 3 attempts just to get it worked out before we figured out you could just kill the High King. Which, that fight's super exciting now. It's 30 seconds.
Yeah, we still haven't done just High King. We still kill the healer first.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I was tanking the Warlock one, and you just get death coiled every like 5 seconds. Yep. It's the worst. My parse was like a 25 or a 13 every week. I was like, guys, please, can I switch to anything else?
Anything else?
And then Gruul took like, I don't know, 5 or 6 attempts or something, just to make sure people knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's so funny because Gruul gets so much easier when like 7 people die.
Very true.
Longer.
It gets longer, but it's definitely easier. Like once like 7 people die.
You guys, does anybody else get really excited like after you get like booted? First of all, it sucks when you get like the little knockback, but you knock forward and you're like in the middle and you're like shit, and you're like running around. But nothing's better than being like knocked back and being in this area where your range shows nobody's around you and you're just like, really? Like, this is amazing. And then like 3 rogues come into your sight with sprint and I'm like, get out of here.
The goal is to kill people on Gruul so your victory rush procs.
Oh.
But now we're just PTRing a lot for the next. We've done both raids on PTR now.
How's that going?
You guys.
Well, hold on.
Speed run.
Hold on,
Wait.
real quick.
Right.
Didn't you say you have like your guild has some of the top speed times on
so
a
on
couple
our
bosses?
On our server, we're like top 2 or 3. At one point, we had the top 10 High King kill. Like when the first killing first strat came out, we were one of the tops. But people have now done it in like 12 seconds because they have 12 arcane mages or something.
Yeah.
Who do you find those mages? I don't know whether they are.
Yeah,
they're all in that one guild.
Like we don't go in with the perfect comp. Like we have. Like this week, I think we had me as a prot warrior, we had a fury warrior and an arms warrior, and maybe a rogue sometimes. Like our guild leader's a rogue, so he's there.
Oh, he wants glaives. I gotcha.
Every guild leader's a rogue.
Yeah, he's getting glaives. He also has the bug scarab mount that is collectively known as our mount because we did it together.
That's what they tell you.
I own 1/50th of a mount, I swear.
Yeah, this is our
on the
achievement. All right, so yeah, Mel, you had a question real quick.
And then they want to go out, and then they want to come in. They just don't like closed doors. That's how my dog is. She gets very annoyed.
I believe my girlfriend just got home, so he can go bother somebody else.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, so Mel, you had a question before we talked to him about PTR.
No, I was asking about speedrunning. You took over my question.
I know. I said before Yip's question about PTR, go ahead and ask your question about speedrun.
But you just asked it.
You asked it. You co-opted her question.
Yeah. Oh, no. Like I thought you were asking about speed runs throughout Nax and everything else.
Nope, you co-opted it.
Sure, I can ask that question.
I want to know. No, forget this. I want to know about the PTR. How's PTR progress been like?
First of all, we never speed run Nax. I think our lowest time was like an hour 45 minutes though, so like it's pretty fast. I don't know.
What was ours, Yip?
7
hours? No, I'm just kidding.
2 hours 20, maybe? 2 hours 20 is what we were finishing at. And we weren't like trying to speed run. We just
you just start chain pulling all the trash. And
yeah. You just started chain pulling and
they start pulling when healers don't have mana and that whole thing.
Definitely have pulled spider packs right after Lotheb, so healers can't heal you, and it's like, I guess I'm dying.
Yeah,
Max is a blast.
Yip in this last Kara Like, I can't tell you how many times on his druid where I'd be like, "Yip, I'm drinking." Like, Yip wonders why he dies. It's because he
I'm
pulls.
sorry.
And we're all
I
drinking.
I love you. You know I love you and Steve,
Mhm.
but you two are unique in the fact that you guys drink together really far away. It happens only when you both are healing. Like, I'll be like, oh, we have a healer at 75% mana. Time to pull, and then it's like we're healing back here, and I'm like, or we're drinking, and I'm like, okay,
Okay,
like, what do you
because
want from me?
it's called learned behavior, is that
No,
I
yeah,
used to love
chain
it.
pulling is learned behavior.
No, what's learned behavior is everybody don't drink here, come up to the next mob and
Yeah,
drink
come up
there.
to the
And
next
it
mob.
says,
You guys don't do
yeah.
that.
And we say, okay. And we get up to the next mob, sit down, and it pulls. And we're like, no, I'm going to drink back here. Because if I drink back here, then they won't pull the freaking mob
I,
because I don't have any mana.
the
And what I
biggest
get
thing,
from mana in a drink in 2 seconds before you pull is not enough to heal you.
I can see your mana. So whatever you think, I don't know. I do know.
Hmm.
Because I can
Hmm.
see how much mana you have. The
But
problem
you
is,
don't know how far away I
Druid,
am.
Druid has no. I don't pay attention to how far away you are because I don't expect you to be drinking on top of the mob we just killed. That's my problem. But
Well,
my biggest problem is on Druid. You just don't have any utility. So I
yeah.
feel like Druid is better than Warrior, but not for stuff like that. Because it's like I'll pull and you guys are far away, and I'm like, I don't have any buttons to push to like help this go better right now. Whereas Warrior, I'm like, I can do a pull like without a healer. Like I
Yeah.
can last stand, I can shield wall, I'll shield block so I don't get crushed for a couple of hits. Like I can stun. Well, I mean, a druid can stun too, so I guess it's not a good one. But between Thunderclap and Demo Shout, I can mitigate more damage. Like Warrior has so much more utility with that. So with my druid, I died a couple times. I was like, oh, I'm not used to like this much damage
Well,
either.
I also feel like with
Definitely.
my priest, I have a lot more like, oh shit buttons,
That's the thing. We had
right?
no priest. We had no priest healer, which is very like
Right. So I'm like,
weird.
I get up there and I'm like, okay, I life bloom, I
Yeah.
regrowth, I renew. Like, you're still effed. Like, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I
Listen,
can
I
flash
I
heal
was
you and
happy.
shield you and like prayer mending you on a priest. Like, it's fine.
All right, well,
Listen,
back
once
to
once you've one healed Kara, you just have faith in your healers, you know? Sorry that
Yeah.
my faith didn't work out. Sorry. Yeah, back to I want to hear about the PTR. I want to hear about PTR progress. I want to hear about how hard I'm about to have to like work in the next
Yeah.
phase.
Most of the bosses, it's pretty simple. We literally had DPS sit in a corner for transitions, unlike Hydros and a couple of the other ones. Are they just pull? Besides that, like getting all the arcane stuff like done makes that fight really easy. Like we did it once with no arcane on everybody, and we got it to like 20% before the healers kind of went in. And then we just put arcane on everybody, and it was a complete joke. Like just walk through it.
Hmm.
We're doing the strat where you have two tanks sit off to the side, like literally stand there in full arcane res, and the people with the debuff run over to them and get the debuff and then run away. I literally just stood there for like 2 minutes while that fight happened. It was very boring.
I like that strat. Maybe we should be doing that. Wherever I can just stand there and do nothing and no one can blame me for a wipe. That's what
yeah, you just sit
It's a
there
good time.
drinking coffee. Have fun over there, guys. Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah, Bob got battle res the other day and then came back, like went to the bathroom, and I was like, Bob, did you get battle res and not take it? And he was like, sorry, I died and went to the bathroom. I was like,
Okay,
that's so I hate that.
in my defense, like usually someone calls out battle resing so and so. Like I would have cut it off like right midstream and come right back to the computer, but no one said anything. I'm walking back to the computer. I was like,
There's
"Oh,
no
I'm
defense,
rezzed," and I
Bob.
run back over.
Disappearing in the middle of an encounter.
I was
That definitely
dead.
happened to us on Gruul once. I died right, or not Gruul, Mag. I died right at the beginning on the ads. I went to go to the bathroom and they tried to res me to cook a cube, and I wasn't there.
Yep. Yeah, it's like if it was progression, I definitely wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready to get back in the fight immediately, especially during Wrath. That was a big thing because I was the number one DPS as a rogue in the guild that we were in. So it was oftentimes I would get battle resed when I died. Like it was a pretty regular thing, so I was there ready, every time. But it hasn't been a thing, in TBC, so I just
Well, and
wasn't
I think
expecting it.
honestly, it probably happened because we don't need to save our battle reses for certain encounters, right? Like it
Yeah.
used to be when we were progressing, it's like, oh, you save your battle res. Now it's just like, somebody dies, go ahead and battle res them. We
Yeah, like
probably
let's
won't
kill
need
this
it for
boss
another 30
faster.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So who's the hardest coming into this phase
Um,
2?
the last two bosses, or the last boss of each boss, Vash and Kill Jaden. Yeah, KT. They're both. We've only done like
Kel'Thas.
Kalthas, whatever. Same thing. They're all elves. I don't know.
True.
Vash is hard, which they fixed the cheese strat for it today or yesterday. I don't remember. You used to be able to set the loot to common and then have everyone pass on loot, and then it would automatically go to one person, the ball.
Oh,
So you could just have them stand next to the pillar and automatically loot the item.
that's funny.
It was real dumb. I'm glad they fixed
Yeah.
it because that makes that fight dumb. But like most of the one right before Vosh, like Tidewalker, I don't know. Yeah, that one's also pretty challenging. Just a lot of Murlocs. Like the first couple of bosses in each raid are pretty simple.
Did you say Murlocs? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, he summons Murlocs.
What? Everything was dropping on PTR, right? Do you know how many like nethers you were getting, or the vortexes?
The first time we did it, we got a bunch. The second time, we only got 2, I think. So.
Oh wow! Even with boss ones too, or just from?
I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention to boss
Okay, but
really because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It does not matter.
So okay, so you've dropped everything on the PTR so far.
We haven't killed the last boss in KT or in VI just because like they stopped the PTR 2 days sooner or whatever. We were gonna go back and do attempts on him.
Let's call him Kelty.
Sure.
Kelty is easy, right? And it doesn't confuse KT. Kelty.
Kel'Thas is the same amount of syllables as 2 letters.
Fair.
Besides that guy, we've killed everything else.
Okay, so this is curious for our guild. Like, would you say a smarter plan would be that when phase 2 like pops out, should you just go to the end boss and then switch to the other dungeon rather than trying to beat your head against the end boss and then maybe spend your second raid day beating your head against, the 2 bosses at the end?
Oh, 100%. All the other bosses are like challenging, sure, but like you could get them done. While the last bosses are very hard. Like just get the loot from the other 5 bosses you can do or whatever.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I've been thinking about that a
easier
lot.
it'll be, right?
Yeah, like but like what scares me about that is people not showing up for progression day, and that's the only thing that scares me about that.
I feel
type
like
of
we don't
strategy.
have as much trouble with people showing up for progression day when it's new content. I guess that's the only time we have progression day. But I feel okay, maybe I'm wrong. I always show up. I think it's exciting. That's the fun part for me, right? Like if we went in and
Same.
just whomped everything, like then
Well,
it'd just be this like slugfest until the end of the phase.
I don't think it'll be like Nax exactly, where like Thursday will be progression day for like 2 months. It might take us a
Right.
few weeks to get everything down, but it's not going to be like, oh, come on Thursday and we're going to be doing 4 horsemen and saffron and like we're just going to die.
Again and
To be
again.
fair, Yip, I really wish I could have just seen in a different timeline how our guild would have done if Shadowlands hadn't been released at the same time as Nax, and if Christmas and New Year's weren't on the same time.
The Christmas and New Year's was a really bad thing for us because like it took us like 2 months to down KT, but we took 2 weeks off because of holidays, like right at the beginning, which was like pretty rough.
And we took a week off for freaking stupid Shadowlands too.
Well, that was Thanksgiving.
I don't think we ever took a week off. We definitely changed raid days for Christmas and whatever, but we raided I think every week.
Yeah, we're pretty like. I think raiding every week is good, but with Nax it was just sort of like.
Yeah,
People are burning out.
It helped that we had 2 raid teams go down to 1 the week before next. We just had a lot of people willing to bench or not be there, fill in roles.
Makes a lot of sense.
But
Sounds like we're going to struggle.
Progression nights are the best nights. Then you get to be in the screenshot. Like, that's why I raid these things. I want to be in the screenshot.
Oh, it's a good call. Yeah, you get to...
My background on my computer is us from Nax killing KT.
See, I'm just always in the screenshot, so I've just never even thought about that. I just show up to every raid. Like, that's just what I do.
I think I've missed, like, maybe 2 raids. Like, I missed 1 Nax raid and maybe 1 AQ. I haven't missed any TBC raids.
Yeah, it's just ingrained in me. If, like, I'm, like, unless... The only times I've missed is when I've been moving and don't have internet. Like, you know, it's literally, I'm just going to be there if at humanly possible can. Like, I've rated sick. Like, a couple weeks ago, I puked in the middle of freaking what was it, Karazhan, Mel? Yeah, I had to run off and I was like, sorry guys, AFK. I just ran off and I puked. I was sick as a dog. I came back, finished the raid. Like, that's just how I do it. And I think a lot of people
came back,
don't
took
have
another
that.
shot, and kept going.
No, I was definitely not. I was definitely sick and not drinking that night.
Yeah, the only time I miss is when I'm traveling for work, and hotel Wi-Fi on a laptop in a hotel room is usually not.
But I mean, you also have raided on hotel Wi-Fi on a laptop, like, quite a few times.
Less than wonderful. But
remember when you're doing Nax progression, I wasn't living with my girlfriend at the time, and I would bring my laptop here. And when we finally killed Saffron, like, she was asleep on the couch next to me, and I started yelling. She was not excited about it.
Saffron was a good kill.
That sounds familiar.
Saffron felt good downing. I don't remember if I yelled or not. I think I
we all yelled.
I think we yelled.
We all yelled.
Like, 4 Horsemen, Saffron, and KT were all yellable moments, I feel like.
KT wasn't even as hard. I think we got KT down pretty quickly after we got Saff down.
Yeah, Saffron was definitely
our second.
But it was still, like, the end, right?
It was like we
did it all. Like, it was like, yes. And it wasn't like a first try thing.
The best part about our first KT kill was it was during a Christmas event, and we'd just gone to rebuff, so everyone was in the gnome costume.
Nice.
Like the Christmas one.
And that's incredible.
That's awesome.
So, with you guys do most of your progression in PTR then, I guess, right?
We didn't PTR for Nax at all, because it, like, I don't know why. We had some people do it, but we didn't have guild nights. These ones are the first time that I have been a part of, like, actual progression, like PTR progression. But yeah, it just saves on consumes. Like, I'd rather wipe on PTR for 2 hours than on real life. Where
That's a real good call.
I'm still riding a slow boy flying mount because I am poor.
Oh yeah, us warrior tanks, we all have the same brain.
I'll get summoned there, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've got 2 fast mounts. You guys just slumming it up.
Yeah, I just find people to borrow money from.
Yeah, I just finished paying off Bushy Bottom.
Did you finish? I was going to send him some money, but
he is completely paid off.
We have some people with lots of gold in my guild. It's like they do some gambling, death rolling in between pulls where we're AFK, and it's like death rolling for thousands of gold. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm going to stay over here, I guess.
Yeah, no, listen, I usually don't have more than like 300 gold on me across all of my characters. So when I have to, like, I think I went to buy my flying mount and Bushy gave me like so much gold. And I was like, okay. And I had to go to each of my other characters and send all of the gold I had on my other characters to that character. And they were like, what are you doing, Mel? And I was like, I'm consolidating my gold, guys. Don't judge me.
If I don't get a lump sum of money, I don't think I'm buying my flying mount anytime soon. Like, unless I get 5K. If you give me 2K, like, I have something I could use 2K with, and it's not saving it for my flying mount. Like,
exactly. Like, I don't farm. I don't have any gathering professions on my warrior. I don't need it. I get summoned to the raid.
Yeah, it's just, have you ever listen? I had my slow mount when Bob had his fast mount, and it was the most defeating thing I've ever done. But I also like to quest. And so dailies come out, guys, and you're gonna want your
questing with a fast mount is so glorious.
We're prot warriors.
So
questing already
there,
sucks.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
well,
half of
that's
the
fair.
week you are Mortal Strike, which makes dailies even more fun because you could just slap Horde around.
I have not respect my warrior. I think since I hit 70, it's been deep prop the whole time.
That was me
Would you
in
if there was
vanilla.
dual spec? Can we go over? I'm just kidding.
I
I do
I would
not want to
take
go
dual
down that
spec,
rabbit hole.
but
I think the majority of the population would take dual spec at this point. I don't even think it's like actually a talking point.
That's not true. Like there are
Just
people that are
saying,
like
I brought it
very
up
much.
way back in episode 1. So
Yeah, I bet a
God.
majority of people would take Group Finder as well, where it teleports you to a dungeon.
I will kill you, Yip.
I'm just saying, if we want to go with majority rule, then I think we can make this game a lot better.
Better.
Well,
So that was a very that was a very cool story. You've been listening to the show since like early on in the beginnings. Is there anything you wanted to say to us that you've thought about throughout the shows that you wanted to just like kind of have a conversation about?
well, I normally just fire off tweets at you on Mondays when I listen to the episodes while I'm at work. So most of those thoughts are already gone, I guess.
Yeah, but I
Do
mean
you often
the
have conversations
listeners.
with us like Bob does with the podcast that he listens to, where he's like talking back to them, and I'm like, they can't hear you, Bob.
Oh, all the time, all the time. And then I'll pull my phone out and I'll be like, I guess I got to tweet at Bob, and then he responds, and it's great.
Well, so the listeners, I mean, we only have like I don't even know how many people follow us on Twitter, but they definitely haven't heard your comments. There's thousands of people that listen to the show on iTunes and Spotify. Is there any specific thing you could think of that you might want to like just kind of talk to us about? You can, if you need time to look at your phone, I could cut this out of the audio version.
Yeah, let's take a look at what I've sent out you guys real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna look too.
Just because I thought this would kind of be interesting, because you do tweet at us like usually, like routinely Mondays after listening. So I thought this would be
He's
kind of
like,
cool.
nope.
all right, my one Twitter open for the week. I'll allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Does chat have any questions?
No, Bob, you really derailed us here. That's
It's fun. Nobody watches the live version. Although it's weird. We do have like 130 people that actually just watch the Twitch VOD, which is the weirdest thing to me.
They just like to see Yip's
Twitch
beautiful
VOD's
face.
good.
I've done that once, I think, because I go through podcasts so often that I needed something to listen to at work. So I just put that on before it was released on a Monday.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
When I had to drive like an hour to work, I would listen to podcasts, and then I'd get so annoyed when I was out of podcasts to listen to. I'd be like, what do I do now?
I am basically always looking for more to listen to.
No,
so-
that's when I throw on some Celine Dion and just jam out in my car. It's great.
Celine Dion.
Hey,
Dude, Celine
not
Dion
judge.
can get you pumped up.
it used to be my alarm, and I shared a hotel room with this person when we were at a convention, and my alarm goes off in the morning, and it's the God, Bob, what song was it?
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. And it just starts playing, and they literally get up in the other bed and look at me, and they're like, Melissa, what the
No.
F?
Mel, that story doesn't compare to our first year at BlizzCon, where we shared a room with I Play Games, Tank Zord, Slambo, and you and me. We're in this room, got 2 double beds. Tank Zord and Slambo are sleeping in one bed. I Play Games is on the cot that we had them bring up. You and me are on one bed. I wanted to get an early start.
BlizzCon.
I wanted to get an early start on BlizzCon, so my alarm was literally not Vanya Wawaki. It's the Lion King opening, and
Oh, we know.
I remember everybody getting up and looking at me like, "What in the fuck is that?" I was like, "It's
Yep.
my alarm," and I was like, "Let's go to BlizzCon." And everybody's like, "Leave me alone. Why aren't you hung over?" I was like, "I don't know. Adrenaline. It's my first time at BlizzCon. Let's go."
Yep. That's not how I felt.
All right. Did you find something?
I could not find anything, but I do have a fun story I could tell about the casual guild I used to be in that I still talk to.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So they rated Nax, the different name but same people, and they were 7 of 15. They never could get past certain bosses. They got all 40 splendors from 7 of 14, just grinding it out. We ended up bringing their guy with the splendors for Atiesh to our raid to kill KT. Our raid, like he comes in and then has to go kill Cthulhu, which their guild had only killed Cthulhu twice in all of AQ. So he kills Cthulhu, and then my guild brings 4 people to help him do the strat one because none of his tanks could survive the strat boss or Skola boss. Strat, yeah.
Strat, dude, that boss was actually kind of pumped. That was the boss that Yip took the sword from, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like I tanked it, and we had a healer, and then I think he might have brought 2 DPS with him, but my guild was super invested in getting another guild's Atiesh for them. It was great. 7 bosses in Nax, grinded out 40 splinters.
That's
Took a
That
long
is
time.
awesome. Oh, yeah. It just kind of makes you think like if you got to complete Nax, you are kind of lucky. Like a lot of people didn't, and like I think a lot of people take that for granted.
I'm gonna take it for granted right now. Vanilla was nonsense. You could have boosted a 58 and you were barely behind someone in full Nax gear coming into TBC. I was promised I was going to be some kind of godlike superhero coming in with my Nax gear. But it's like, you get into 68 dungeons and the gear is so close that it's not even that big of a deal at all. My first Karazhan at 70, I think I wore like 2 pieces from 60. I just decided, fuck it. I'm going to wear all the level 70 gear in here. And it was fine. It was totally fine.
The first care we
Okay.
did that first week, I was tanking. I think I wore all of my T3. I was just like full T3 with the Face of Death and Iblis or something.
Yeah.
So I'd gotten nothing yet.
Okay, so now I have a real question here because I'm looking at your Twitter and you
Oof.
have who will be tied in number 1 in 2021. What was your vote? Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, or George Kittle?
I'd Darren Waller, Raider Nation.
Oh God, you're a Raider fan too?
Oh
Get him
my
outta here. We are
god!
so
It's in his bio, guys.
So,
Wow!
You guys brought him on without reading his bio?
I
Done.
live in
Ooh.
Kansas, like 2 hours away from you guys. Like I worked at a sports bar that was all Chiefs themed last year. Every week I was wearing a Raiders jersey. It was great.
Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
Listen,
Ugh.
Raiders fans, I have my opinion of them. It's not positive.
My whole girlfriend's family is Chiefs fans. Like I made
Good
them buy
for
me.
her. I like
made
her
them
that
buy
much
me
more.
Raiders stuff for Christmas. Like only thing I put on my list for gift exchange was Raiders gear, so they had to buy it.
Nope, I just wouldn't
man.
have. I would have bought you a Chiefs jersey and been like, no. But for real, Travis Kelce is definitely better. But yeah,
I
we
mean,
can move
Travis
on.
Kelce might turn out to be the best tight end that's ever played the game if he keeps it going.
I mean, he has Mahomes. He'll keep going.
Yeah, I
Who do you
mean,
guys have?
even
Oh,
without Mahomes,
yeah.
like the dude's amazing. But we're not here to talk about the NFL. And
I'm sorry,
Football
it
podcast
triggered me.
next. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, you're not invited, Raiders fan.
all right, well, I think we've had a good show. I think it's about time to wrap it up. Do we have an add-on of the week, or do we want does our guest have an add-on of the week?
Always got to put the guest on the spot first.
I don't think I have anything too fancy. I have some weak auras. That's about it. I have nothing.
Feel free to look at your phone if you'd like to find an add-on.
Pull up my add-on list here.
Yeah.
Bob's got one.
I don't really. I could
You
pull
told
up.
me before the podcast that
Okay,
you
What's
had
a
I
one.
tune
can-
again? A
I
tune is
can do
always
one.
the one, right?
Yeah,
Do you guys
we've
want me
done
to
a
do
tune
one?
so many times. Yes, we will let Mel do one. Let's move on to.
Am I crazy? Bob was like, "We got to do the add-on that our scare told us about."
Oh no, I just was talking to you about. I haven't tried it out, so I don't want to I don't want to cover it yet.
I thought you
Sorry.
meant for the add-on of the week. All right, it's time for
The add-on of the week.
All right. I have an add-on. Not really. I have an add-on of an add-on that I want to talk about. So, you know how I always said threat plates doesn't really help me as a healer because I have to be clicked on the target or doing something. Well,
Didn't
let me tell you.
Didn't you already cover this add-on?
Ugh, fine. I don't know. The HealBot threat add-on?
Maybe not. Go ahead, just in case you didn't.
yeah. You definitely either talked about it. You might have talked about it in
Maybe I
like
did.
what we were doing that week. I think maybe because I was complaining
Probably.
about
That's okay.
healers. I bet.
It's okay, because it's
Okay.
awesome. Just
Nope.
go ahead
Yeah,
and
Nope.
reiterate.
Nope.
Let's
Now I don't
reiterate.
want to do it. Nope.
Nope.
Now I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. Nope.
Do
Well,
it.
HealBot has a
Do
really
it.
cool threat add-on for healers where you're able to see your threat across multiple mobs, which most threat add-ons don't allow you to do. So for like AoE threat, it can be a real big problem. But HealBot's going to give you all that information. So when you're spamming Circle of Healing and you're like, should I hit this 7th Circle of Healing in a row, or is 6 enough? You can decide on the spot, or you see everyone's low as Mag is coming out of his banished form. When you kill the channelers and be like, well, I've got 0 threat on Mag. Let's go ahead and launch one out real quick.
And
Yeah,
if you
and then you watch yourself go up.
And if you don't use HealBot, you can just download threat plates. And then as long as you have your plates turned on, then you're going to be able to see if they're red, yellow, or green. Green means
Right.
good, yellow means caution.
A little easier for
red
DPS
means
than
bad.
healers, I'll say.
Correct.
Healers
Right.
can
Like,
jump pretty
I'm
far.
looking at my raid frames, right? I'm not looking at the
True.
mobs.
True.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at my raid frames. So this is like a box that is definitely looks just like threat plates would, or not threat plates, but like whatever
Like a threat
your
meter, like
threat meter
threat
would, right?
classic or a
Yeah.
tiny threat.
And it just shows me like mob 1, mob 2, mob 3, and it shows me who is there. It also helps when I need to know, like, I should probably heal spell check because he's creeping up on the damage meters and he's blizzarding, so I'm going to probably need to shield him, right? Like, it helps with that stuff too if I'm, on my game. But
Why'd
yeah,
you call out
it's,
spell check there?
well, because I just raided with him and, he creeped up on the damage meters a lot, or on the threat meters a lot. I guess I could say Kim, but Kim died so fast that I couldn't even react. So,
Yeah,
mage
Kim
things.
Kim definitely could die faster than anybody else, which is funny because he's an amazing healer. It's weird. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and close out the show. All right. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it's WC Reloaded. If you'd like to follow the Mash Those Buttons Network, it's at the Mash Network. We want your WoW stories. Hey, you might even get a chance to come on the podcast, just like Felber here. So send those emails to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join our Discord, you can do that by going to mash.gg/Discord. Ratings and reviews. iTunes reviews help us a ton just getting in the Google algorithm, and you guys have killed it. We still have more reviews than we do episodes, which is pretty amazing for a niche podcast. So thank you so much for that. Any more you could give us, we would love it. You can also go to warcraftradio.com/directory and leave us reviews there. That's what Felber did, and you don't have to do anything Apple or iTunes. So give us those
Not to
reviews
mention, they
there.
make us feel so happy.
They definitely warm our hearts. And Mel has been getting a lot of in-game love lately too. So
I
thank
love
you
you
to
all.
guys for sending her some tells and saying hi.
Don't say thank you like you're the one like recruiting these people to message me so I don't feel bad about myself. Like, no.
Yeah, thanks for giving Mel a little bit of a boost. She really needed that.
Here, guys. They actually like me, okay?
If anyone else could give her a helping hand,
Oh,
that would
God.
be really nice.
Oh,
I hate
man.
you all.
All right. Ryan, where can we find you?
Hi, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/cognitivepit or on Twitter at cognitivepit.
All right.
Thank
all
you.
right. Mel, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch. Probably not, but you can try. Or you can find me in game on Mel Arena or Arielina. And a shout out to Resbian, who was the last one to send me a message in game. And he has a white main character who's 60 something. And he's going to come PvP with us when he gets him up to 70.
Wow.
You know why? Because I'm cool, not because I have a pity case. Don't try to frame this that way. I hate you all.
And Felber, where can we find you?
You can find me at Twitter at the Dredge Team, where I'll just be yelling about football for the next few months. It'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll be crying about losing to the Chiefs, but
Yep.
you know, it's
Yelling, crying,
Pretty
same
sure
thing.
we beat you in Arrowhead last year. It was great.
So are Raiders
yeah.
also a Kansas team, or is
No,
that?
they're in the
No.
division, same division.
Yeah,
Wow,
they're
so
now
you like a
in.
team that's in your division that isn't your state, Felver? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
I
hearing.
picked them out of a hat when I was like 4 and just kept going. I can't stop.
Yeah,
And
I own
it's 'cause
too many
the
things
Chiefs
with the Raiders
when
logo
you
on
were
them.
4.
Raiders used to be in Oakland. Now they're LA.
No, we're in Vegas now.
Oh, I
you
knew
are
that.
in Vegas.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I've
we
heard of
went
that.
Oakland to LA, back to Oakland to Vegas.
Yeah, you guys have a cool freaking stadium now. It is.
I
I
was
mean,
really
it
cool.
would. I don't know anything about football, but it would take a 4-year-old randomly picking the Raiders to be a Raiders fan. Am I right, guys?
100%. But to be
Rude.
fair, 4-year-old Felber was a chief in Chiefs Nation, and Chiefs Nation was real bad.
Yeah,
he is
I mean,
he is a horde player.
True.
true.
This
So
makes
he,
sense.
he already
Raiders
makes
and
bad
Horde,
choices.
I mean, I do feel like this is
Actually,
consistent
yeah,
here.
that actually makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
now
okay,
it
right.
all's coming together now.
Just to let anybody know,
think he's fully
Raiders
roasted.
fans were famous for throwing batteries at the players on the field.
Oh, that sounds like a Philly thing. We might have a lot in common.
Yep, you
No,
yes.
Philly
can
likes
I
that sort of
just-
stuff too.
Yep,
Can I just
exactly.
real quick, you can cut this out of the audio, but real quick, I was on a plane coming back from a conference on a Sunday. So I'm like full Chiefs decked out gear, right? And I sit in the plane and I'm sitting on the window. These two people come in and they sit next to me and they're in their Raiders gear, right? And I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And I am on my phone and I'm like playing a game or watching a downloaded movie or something. And the lady looks over at me at the end of the flight and is like, you are going to kill us because you were on your plane and they said, or you were on your phone and they said that there's no phones allowed and you're just going to interfere with that and you're going to kill us. And I was like, oh, it's in airplane mode. And she goes, you don't think that I would know if that was a thing? And I was like, no, it is a thing.
It's
Like
an
they say,
airplane mode.
like make sure it's in airplane mode. And she's like, you're just so horrible. And I was like, and then I'm like in the window, right? And everybody gets up to leave. And you know how everybody gets up to leave when their row's up? Yeah, they didn't. They just sat there in the row and everybody went beyond them. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Am I just not going to get to leave this plane? Like, is somebody here? Save me.
If
Raiders
you didn't
fans.
know what airplane mode was, that sounds like the fakest thing ever. Like, don't worry,
Right?
my phone's in airplane mode. It'd be like, what are you talking about? Turn your phone off. Like,
And you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. I'm actually going to leave that little tangent in the podcast because it was actually kind of funny because I think a lot of people don't even understand that. So this has been a good episode. We're getting out of here, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
good farewell. Goodbye.
Farewell,
Cut the
travelers.
football. Cut the football out, and that's what we need to cut out.
Are you ready for some football?
What?
All right. We are going offline. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Marv
Thanks,
Taskic.
Cat.
Skeet swinging.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys later. Yam Starch. Thank you guys. Baloop coming in here. Love you
I've already
guys.
stopped my recording.
See
just
you
so
later.
You know.
Me too.
So
Don't
me
be
too.
mad at me.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this in the end of the pod.